Hello, my Astro family. This is Lada from astrolada.com, and today I have three good news for you. The first one is that I'm back doing monthly horoscopes, obviously, yay! After a few months break. The second good news is that August will be so much better than crazy July with all the eclipses in July, all the sun opposition, Pluto, Saturn, all the retrograde planets. August will give us a break. August will be time when the winds are changing and turning for us. Jupiter and Mercury are turning direct, and we have a conglomeration or stellium of planets in a very positive sign. And the third good news is that I finally completed and I'm ready to release my predictive astrology course. It's based on techniques from all types of astrology, ancient, modern, Vedic, Western, the predictive techniques that I have found out work the best. And basically I give you all my secrets. It's about 12 hours. It was part of it is from the retreat that I just did, professional quality, and part of it is recorded in the studio. So, and I'm giving it for 50% off to the first 100 people that order it. And I'm adding also for the first 100 people that order it, another course of mine, which usually costs $200, but I'm adding it for free, 60 most important transits. And this predictive course will teach you all my secrets. Transits in particular, we focus in particular on solar returns and progressions and dashes. So lots of interesting information. And now let's start with the 12 signs and predictions for each sign. So, Capricorn, what is happening with you? Let's start first with Mercury. It's turning direct from the beginning of the month, in your seventh house. So, it was retrograde. It have been retrograde in your seventh house for part of July, which means that there might have been some complications that appeared in partnership, some negotiations, renegotiations of a business partnership or a contract or an agreement, spoken or written agreement of some sort. Or if you're married, to have committed relationships, maybe you were re-examining the relationship, maybe you were bringing things from the past, maybe you were trying to make it more balanced of some sort. When Mercury goes retrograde, we want to make it more practical, more balanced in some way, more efficient as a relationship. And maybe you are rearranging the rules of the relationship. So maybe some relationship problems escalated. On another level, maybe in July some old friendships appeared or some old partners, or maybe old clients that got in touch with you. But on a more negative level, some problems were created that you have to fix, or too much, or things that you're having to work with someone, especially if it's a business partner or a client, which is the seventh house, to work over, to put extra effort working with someone in a cooperation of some sort. And now when Mercury turns direct from the beginning of August in your seventh house, all those problems starts resolving. So if there was problem in your relationships, arguments, you settle down, you make an agreement, or you just move forward. If there was some complication with signing a deal or selling something, the seventh house is the marketplace, make an agreement, deal, sign a contract, whatever. If there were some delays, those delays disappear from the beginning of August, and you can move forward with those relationships, business agreements, friendships, whatever. And then Mercury starts moving into your eighth house. It joins so many planets. So if there was some complications with mutual resources, money from a client getting delayed, or from some support, or from a bank money getting delayed, or some payment that is not fully dependent on you, that's connected to others, or some complications started happening there, it gets resolved again in August because Mercury is moving directly there. But look how much planets, how much energy is focused in your eighth house, Capricorns, in August. And the eighth house is very tantric house. Let's start with the good things. In August, you might feel quite horny, let's say, but not just for the sake of, I want to come. It's almost like on a deep level, something is stirring inside of you with all those planets, and you're thinking a lot about trust. The eighth house on a deep level is trust of others. So topics concerned of, do I trust this person, come up. But with this, because all the planets are moving direct here, the ruler of Leo is there. So usually it's positive manifestation that happens there. It's almost like there can be a breakthrough with a person because eighth house is connected to other people, but on a deep emotional, psychological level, that more trust is established, that questions regarding trust are being examined, because currently they might be happening, that you're examining questions in regards to trust, because Mercury is retrograde still in July in the eighth house. And if those came up, it's almost like there's some type of healing that happens in August in regards to that. Um, and you might even receive some amount of money coming to you from another person, or you can receive some loan, or you can receive some sponsorship or some investment from another person, or some refund or something like that from taxes, or some source of income from another person, from another area. And it's not necessarily just material and money, it can be some kind of that you are more dependent on someone this month, that you depend on the support and the work of another, or the talents of another person, So that's something that can come to you. And I mean, there's so many planets, sometimes it's overpowering the energy there. But first of all, you're willing somehow to open yourself more on a deeper level, to be dependent on another, to trust another, psychologically to bear yourself to another, to get to a more deeper emotional bond with another. And of course, that's a house of sex as well, so it can create more intimacy in your life for this month. You can bond deeper with a partner, but it's also crisis prone, because you bear yourself, you make yourself very vulnerable to another, and some issues of trust can come up, and you can deal with them. You have strong planets there transiting, and Venus is also there, so good resolution can be achieved. um, on another level, people that are working in eighth house sectors, if you're Capricorn, if you work in a bank with other people's money, in insurance company, if you work in inheritance of some sort, dealing with inheritance, if you're working with other people's talents, or if you're in emergency, or anything to do with emergency, with crisis situation, they can this is very powerful, very busy month for you. Something important happens in regards to that. Or if you work in psychology and astrology, if you're an occultist, eighth house is occultism or hidden knowledge, so it includes psychology, astrology, tarot, all those healing careers that go to the bottom of your, trying to understand the motives of the person, what is the reason of their suffering and whatever, and to help switch intervention businesses, to switch you around, or work that is connected to heal on a deep level or another, because eighth house, the house of crisis, but also house of healing. So that can be a tremendous month for healing of some sort, for a psychological breakthrough on some level as well. It might feel on the surface that nothing much is happening, because all the action this month is in a hidden house, and then the other action that's happening is in another hidden house. Jupiter is turning direct in your 12th house. So it might feel on the outside that you're not doing much, but inside there is like big emotional shift in you, and almost like towards healing. And look, all those planets in Leo are making trine to Jupiter, very healing planet, very beneficial planet. Jupiter is God's divine blessing and grace, and it's in the 12th house. Jupiter is the invisible forces, the ancestors that have passed by into our guides, our spirit guides, angels, the invisible world. And Jupiter was retrograde till now. Maybe our protection, your protection, was a little bit withdrawn. When they're retrograde, they become more withdrawn. They're not so obvious, those in your spirit guides to help you to that work through intuition. Very often it's when the intuition will be like, you're at the right place at the right time, and you get a hunch to go there and do that. But Jupiter was retrograde for a little bit, for a few months, and it's also from the middle of August, from the 12th, it's turning direct. So the psychic protection is coming back for you. Your guardian angels, your intuition, whatever you want to call it, connection to the invisible world is coming closer to the border with the visible world to whisper in your ear. So it's almost like intuition will help you and give you some healing because of all this. And the eighth house, remember, it's also crisis and trauma. So if there's been some trauma, that it can be a powerful month for releasing that trauma. If you go to a psychologist, psychiatrist, astrologer, occultist, a tarot reader even, they can give you some amazing answers, because the eighth house, the house of to investigate and to receive answers. And very often some of the biggest crises and issues come when we receive and healing. Eighth house is healing. So sometimes, for example, you might have a really serious disease, cancer of the stomach or whatever, but you dig deep with a psychologist or with an occultist, and you realize because you were, stabbed in your stomach by your loved one in a past lifetime, and you carry this pain and resentment, and you relive this in your head, and you release the disease. A lot of the diseases come from a psychological, emotional issue that we've buried, we don't remember. A lot of the phobias, the paranoias as well, a lot of the blockages in life. And this house shows those crises, but it also shows when it's activated that it's like, imagine, it's like they're being hosed with water, those blockages from all those planets. They're hosed with tremendous rays of energy that these planets are bringing for me in August, that can create this kind of detoxing of your body, detoxing, like a turnaround in a crisis situation, turnaround on a psychological level, and release of pain. That's very healing. It's, for me, August for you is very healing. You are inwardly, maybe some healing crisis can happen, but you are inwardly releasing so much there. The 8th and the 12th house that planets are starting, that are being activated, are very psychological, but they're very inwardly spiritual, and they're called moksha, which is liberation. So you're liberating some attachment to something that's been painful, and it's healing because we have good planets here. So that's, I guess that's what's necessary. And Jupiter turning direct in your 12th house as well, on another level, can indicate that if there was some delays or complications connected to some research, it starts getting resolved. By the way, it's a fantastic month for research. The 12th and the 8th house are houses to dig deep, to research, whether scientific or occult or esoteric, anything just to go within, just to where you can get profound answers. Like you can have like eureka moments almost. So if you can do some astrology study or whatever you want, or some psychology, self-help, self-analysis, they're going to be release of blockages, release. And by the way, 8th house is other people's resources. If you've noticed that you can't receive well from others, from clients, say you have blockages, for example, to ask for more pay, or you always feel like if you have to give more to the client, that you're not worthy. This is the 8th house blockages again. So when we don't receive from the universe, so you put out a lot, but you don't receive. When there is a blockage with receiving, this is the 8th house. And all those planets are going to really emphasize that, like a restart they're trying to do with issues connected to you being able to receive, to you being able to open yourself, to trust. The 8th house is trusting the universe that it will provide, trusting the universe that it's going to take care of you. So hopefully there will be some progress for you there. And as I said, any psychological, astrological courses, webinars, self-work, fantastic time for it. The alchemical transmutation starts happening for you of deep-seated and releasing, And the 8th house rules the colon, the anus as well. Anything it's about release of feelings, of toxins as well. But very spiritual month. If you can go to a foreign country, fantastic. And as I was talking, Jupiter retrograde in the 12th, if there was some delays with receiving documents to live abroad or to relocate or to travel to faraway place for a longer period, or to do some research, 12 houses connected to PhDs and, deep researches, now they can start giving results from the middle of August. Or if there was delays, those delays get, removed, and things starts moving forward, and things get resolved, there. Or if you've been working behind the scenes on some imaginative project, the 12th house is imagination as well. And, or you might have been working on some spiritual technique or practice or knowledge. The 12th house is that, and Jupiter is knowledge, spiritual techniques, knowledge, meditation, or whatever it is. For me, always, because I don't meditate, Jupiter in the 12th house manifests as deep insights that I receive, deep understanding on a subject, on a matter. But you're gonna start seeing the results of that. You can start completing it, or things can start moving forward. Don't forget, of course, that Saturn is still in your first house, and it's one more month before it turns direct. So it's almost stationary now in August, around the middle degrees, 13, 14 degrees of Capricorn. So if you have your sun, moon, or ascendant around 13, 12, 13, 14, 15 degrees, it might be still a tough month because Saturn is retrograde there. Not for the other Capricorns, probably they won't feel it so much. And Pluto is very close there, you know. Uh, but things are starting, release is starting to happen psychologically, emotionally. There can be income source of flow of income from another area, you know, from other people. Uh, Resolution of sexual problems, of problems connected to deep trust and such matters. But again, very deeply psychological and spiritual month with inclination to some healing crisis, as I said. So thank you so much, Capricorns. I hope that was kind of encouraging for you, kind of hopeful, because actually uh, July was very difficult month for many Capricorns, with the eclipses happening there, with the Sun, Saturn oppositions, Pluto. Honestly, that would be like a relief. If you can go on a holiday, fantastic. Like somewhere a bit more isolated, Jupiter in the 12th house, or those planets in the 8th house. So if you can go away somewhere with a lover on a private place. And as I said, 8th house is very secret. So if you're Leo, some of you might have like a secret relationship, or you can have like a secret affair of some sort, or if you are in a committed relationship, so kind of you can get a bit more experimental sexually, maybe tantric to some way. Maybe you can escape with your loved partner on a sex trip or an intimate trip of some sort. So thank you so much, Capricorn. And if you want to use those energies to learn, to explore, to understand yourself, I have my predictive course, which is 50% off. Great for delving in and researching. And it's worth $600. I'm giving you courses for $600 just for $200. I'm giving you two courses for that. 60 most life-changing transits and predictive techniques that I recorded in July and June, basically. And the one is fully free, the other one is 50% off for the first 100 people. I love you. Have a great August.